This week in Jamaica Now, the Petrojam scandal, outrage after the Auditor General reveals details of two surprise parties for the Energy Minister at taxpayers' expense. His cake cost $1,000. And Petrojam's former HR manager, Yolande Ramharak, was at the center of a series of breaches, including hiring her sibling after being rejected by an interview panel. Buju Banton released from U.S. prison. Tragedy in the West. A 13-year-old boy is reported to have killed his mother. In Mandeville, a businessman has killed himself. And Jamaica's Dalton Harris wins the UK XFactor. I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. There was outrage in Jamaica this week following the release of the Auditor General's report into the operations of the state-owned oil refinery Petrojam. The 115-page report details a series of damning findings: high levels of accountable and unaccountable oil losses, management's override of the procurement guidelines, poor management of capital investment project and consultancy arrangements, inconsistent recruitment and employment practices, weakening financial position, and inadequate oversight and monitoring of Petrojam operations. In one case, the HR manager hired her sibling after he was rejected by an interview panel because of the lack of experience and qualification. The HR manager also hired a counselor without signing a contract and paid the counselor $2.7 million in 9 months. All this while a non-profit organization already had a contract to provide counseling services for employees. In 7 years, that organization was paid $795,000. And the Auditor General's report has detailed two surprise parties for the Energy Minister, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, costing $2.6 million. One of the parties was for the birthday of the minister. The other was for Wheatley and the PCJ chairman Percival Bahadur Singh. The Auditor General said a copy of the invoice submitted by the hotel that hosted one of the parties showed that Petrojam was charged $2,427 for food and beverage, $1,000 for a 4-tiered topsy-turvy chocolate cake, and $3,802 for ocean view rooms. The audit revealed too that Petrojam directly hired a consultant to provide services under two contracts dated June 22 and November 3 last year related to its 35th anniversary planning activities. According to the Auditor General, the General Manager exceeded his authority and breached the procurement guidelines in approving the two contracts valued at $14 million and $27 million respectively. Incarcerated Jamaican reggae star Buju Banton was released from a U.S. prison on Friday. Early this morning, a prison officer said Buju Banton will be released from the McRae Correctional Institution at some point today. The United States Bureau of Prisons also updated its website overnight and changed Buju's release date from December 8, 2018 to unknown. The prison officer, however, refused to say when Buju would be sent back to Jamaica, insisting that it would be a breach of security policy to reveal such information. Buju, a Grammy Award-winning entertainer, was convicted for drug trafficking on February 22, 2011 in Tampa, Florida, 12 days after a retrial for his case began. There was anguish in the Betheltown community of Berkshire in Westmoreland this week, where a 13-year-old boy reportedly stabbed and killed his mother. The second-form high school student allegedly attacked and murdered his mother, 44-year-old Petrina Grace McDonald, early Wednesday night. He is now in police custody. McDonald was stabbed multiple times and her throat slashed. McDonald, a popular farmer in the rural community, was reportedly attacked as she sat in her house watching television. McDonald's 19-year-old son, Mackay Stone, was left stunned when he learned that his mother had been killed, allegedly by his brother. In Mandeville, 33-year-old businessman Jason Neal this week committed suicide at his Ingleside house. One of his cousins told the Gleaner that for weeks Neal had become withdrawn. His pregnant wife was at home about 7 o'clock on Tuesday morning when she heard an explosion and rushed to find Neal with a gunshot wound to his head and his licensed firearm beside him. There was celebration this week following the announcement that Jamaica's Dalton Harris has won the 2018 XFactor UK. Harris was overwhelmed with emotion after the announcement.
Oh! You just won the XFactor!
I just won the XFactor!
Yeah!
En route to the final, Harris often expressed thanks for the support he had been receiving.
So it's so hard sometimes when y'all tell me that I'm good, like I don't understand it, but I appreciate it.
Harris won a £1 million recording contract with Psycho Music in association with Sony Music. The
Health Ministry says there is no outbreak of the dengue fever in Jamaica, although there has been a significant jump in suspected cases. According to the ministry, 412 suspected cases were reported up to November 17. This compares with 150 cases reported during the corresponding period in 2017. The ministry says the increase in suspected cases remains below the threshold to be declared an outbreak. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@leanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, more on the Petrojam scandal.
Yes, Ms. Bammarang.
Just Ramharak. Just for further clarity.
Rambarang, sorry, I don't even know her name. Sorry, yes, Ms. Rambarang.
For further clarity, as was mentioned before, that a hiring decision does in fact not only include qualifications and experience, it also is also impinged on competences.
Yes.
And so,
and I must say, just from this bit of exchange, you seem to me to be a people person. You seem to be very confident. I mean, you seem to have all the attributes of an HR person that I certainly would employ in my office and my organization. The confidence, the competence, the personability, interrelatability that HR managers need, I can see that shining through. Yes, ma'am, continue.
Thank you for that. But in the context... In the context of Petrojam, where we align all that we do to our best-in-class mission and vision, the hiring decision for my position included someone who would be an employee champion, would possess business acumen, culture, and a strategic positioner. All of those that I did demonstrate the ability to execute on and engagement as well.